Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, results strategist, business coach, mentor, and consultant. Today, I have a massive guest. He is the $21.7 billion man and the highest paid marketing consultant in the world. He is a proven business leader, a top executive coach in the United States, and a best-selling author. He is the founder and CEO of the Abraham Group, where he has spent his entire career solving complex problems and fixing underperforming businesses. He has significantly increased the bottom lines of over 10,000 clients in more than 1,000 industries and over 7,200 sub-industries worldwide. He has dealt with virtually every type of business scenario and issue. He has studied and solved almost every type of business question, challenge, and opportunity. Welcome, Jay Abraham, and thank you for being on my show.
Well, thank you very much. What a nice introduction. Very gracious. And you probably don't know this, but I used to go all the time to Australia. We had partners there. We used to go 4 times a year. And we used to do seminars, very expensive and extensive seminars. And geez, we did them in Sydney, Melbourne, Queensland, Sanctuary Coast. I used to do them all the time. We used to partner with 3 or 4 different people, but I haven't been there for years. So it'd be fun to connect vicariously through you. So I'm here. Ask away, anything I can help with.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. It's so awesome to have you here. And with COVID, we can't travel, but soon enough, that'll all open up, I'm sure, and look forward to getting back to the US around you as well. So let's get straight into it then. So to start off from a very general sense, I guess, what are the different ways that we can grow a business?
Well, I mean, there's an infinite number of tactics, but as you probably know, because you're setting it up, there's really 3 basic ways. You either increase the number of buyers, you increase the size of the transaction, and thus the profit that transaction produces, provides, represents, and or you increase the frequency and the duration of purchase, so you multiply what's called the lifetime value. And if you increase any one of those, it can be a linear increase, but if you increase all of them concurrently, it becomes geometric. And then within each of those categories, there are, dozens of different tactics that you can use, but those are the 3 ways. There are 3 advanced ways. You can penetrate a new market every year. You can introduce a new product or service every year or more, and you can acquire either a competitive or a complementary business every year. And if you do any of those in combination, your business can explode very rapidly with very, very modest downside risk or investment. But yeah, I mean, there's enormous number of ways to do it, but those are the 3 basic methods to get it done. So yeah, and it's much simpler than most people actually think.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. And I guess, when you're looking at all those different elements, right, a lot of people, talk about conversions, like sales conversions, right? Like, because you can have a certain amount of calls, but you want to, increase, I guess, the conversion. So you do the least amount of work for the most amount of value and benefit. So what are your thoughts, and how can you help us with, strategies and things to increase our sales conversions as well?
Well, I mean, you could increase sales conversions many ways. So let's look at the variance on the front end. So people come in, they can opt in, they can call in, they can come in, they can participate on your webinar, they can buy an entry-level product, they can download something, they can watch you on YouTube, they can join your Facebook group. There's a lot of ways that you start the relationship, right?
Definitely.
But what you do from that, but first of all, when they hit whatever your driver is, your first tier driver, you have to think, okay, what am I going to do to optimize and maximize them engaging? Because first thing is, how do you engage? And they engage only because they believe you have something they want that has enough payoff potential, value, benefit, advantage, that it's to their personal advantage to commit either their opt-in, their phone number, their booking an appointment, they're enrolling and registering for your webinar. So the first thing is there's all kinds of, we have something called RSO, Revenue System Optimization. And it starts by looking at the totality of a revenue system that is driving a business. And everyone's got a revenue system, although frankly, Athin, most of them are very dysfunctional. But the first is, who are you targeting? How are you targeting? What is the proposition you're targeting? How are you trying to ethically snare them? If you think about fishing, what's the bait? Right? Once the bait's out there and they bite, how do you ethically hook them? And then how do you continually reel them in, if you want to talk about that? And how do you do it with integrity and ethos while always adding more value to the other side? That's sort of the questions I ask, if that doesn't sound too esoteric.
I love that. That's awesome, Jay. You have an amazing mind. I love the way that, you articulate things and go into that type of detail, because we really do need those details to go deep on marketing, things like that, to grow as well.
Yeah, and then so if you start with that, again, there's not one size fits all. There's many ways you can do it, many ways people do it. And most people find one way, they don't do multiple ones, although there's no reason not to. But if you do any of them, you got to question, okay, what am I going to do to set the expectation in motion from the beginning that, hey, this company, this website, this person, this experience event, document, PDF, webinar, whatever it is, has enough value, and behind that must be a lot more. And I want very badly to discover what it holds for me. That has to be the communication that you telegraph in your marketing, your selling, whatever it is. Then if you don't deliver it, you lose them there. So there's a lot of ways, a lot of what I call friction factors, okay? And most people don't think about it. So the first thing is you got to be able to articulate that powerfully, and more powerfully than what's out there, or then you're just lucky if you get anybody to really come or stay. Assuming you do, then you got to take them on a what's the word I'm going to call it? A very, very well-directed perpetual journey that starts with, whatever is the beginning experience, and then takes them to the next and the next, and depends on what you're selling and how expensive it is and what levels of progressive experience people can have with it. It might be a sale of a next stage or a first stage, might be going right for the large sale, but that's going to lose a lot of people. But you can always follow up on the ones you didn't sell. But you have to have a business strategy that you're following. And then with every stage of progression, you have to know how to optimize, which is get the highest and best outcome. And the outcome is going to depend on what you're selling or what you could also be selling. And I'm giving you a lot of abstract comments here, Athin, but yeah, the answer is not as simple. But the first thing is, you want to find the most powerful, compelling, optimal way to attract the most desirable category of prospective buyers. Then you want to be able to convert them in the most effective, efficient, and optimal way, from either prospects to first-time buyers, first time to second time, whatever you're trying to do. Then you should want to continue keeping them in a relationship with you that you can continually monetize by adding valuable product, service, exchange with them. If you don't have a lot of products or services, then you owe it to yourself to source them, partner with them, create them. But it should be a perpetual process that you can mine and monetize and contribute to for, a very long period of time. If you're very strategic and you play a long game, which you should, because it's just as easy to play as a short one, except for it's many times more profitable and many times more sustainable and many times more wealth creating.
Yeah, I love that, Jay. Thank you. And I guess if we like when you talk about how we can, continue to monetize, the current clients that we have, I know that, referrals are a powerful acquisition strategy as well, right? Due to having a level of trust. So what are some of the ways that we can generate referrals from our network and our clients?
Well, you probably know this. I've done outrageously extensive work on referral marketing and generation. We have something close to 150 methods that we know of that you can generate high quality, high profitable referrals for functionally little or no cost or risk whatsoever. We have them. We have systems at all points in the continuum, at the point of sale, after the sale, at different times of the year. We have them when people don't buy. We have them as vehicles to reactivate relationships. We have them. We have them as a condition of doing business, that you can make referral generation a consideration to give people a discount on their purchase if they give you referrals. We have ways to develop external referral generating networks by contributing to the growth of other businesses and professional practices in exchange for them agreeing to refer to you. We have different ways you can hold events that you invite your existing or past buyers to attend and bring an equal quality person or group of people. We have special holistic type of education and information distributing strategies that transcend just the business that you're in, but deal with that existing buyer, client, prospect as a holistic person who has many more interests, hopes, needs, from weight loss, financial, investing, parenting, relationship, and teaches them all those things, and shares information and interviewing people like you're doing, but very broad, and invites them to bring their colleagues on. We've done everything from buying theaters out and having private sneak preview screenings of a new movie and inviting one of our clients' existing buyers and allowed them to bring another couple with them to it. All kinds of things. But the point is more that there are a multitude of ways to do it. And when you think about this, it's really scary. Almost every business out there, Athin, can state that 10 to 100% of their revenues come from referrals or word of mouth, and yet the vast majority don't even have one systematic, constantly adhered to referral generating strategy or system that they apply. And yet the same companies that don't waste enormous amounts of money on Facebook or Instagram or Google searches, in which they get respondents, but the vast majority don't monetize, whereas a referral generated buyer buys almost immediately, buys very, very high percentage, negotiates very little, buys more things, buys more combinations, buys longer, is more enjoyable to deal with, refers more people, costs you nothing. And yet most people don't even go after referrals as a primary strategy. Whereas if you have referral marketing as a significant part of your business, you can increase your profit margins monumentally, because when you have to pay to advertise, then that kind of a buyer is far more expensive to acquire. You can actually, I mean, many businesses spend 100% or more of their first sale on acquiring the buyer. And that means, you don't make any money until second, third transaction. And if you don't get a second or third, you don't make any money. Whereas it costs you nothing to get a referral, and a referral is going to be probably 2 or 3 times more profitable than ones that you normally invest advertising expense in. So it's a really cool concept. I mean, there's just a myriad of ways to do it, but the fact is you should do it. Everyone should have 3 to 5 referral generating systems in place that they're applying all the time, because it'll increase their referral business by double, redouble again. It will increase the profit margin, sometimes by 30, 40% across the board. It'll increase the lifetime value on the average buyer, because referral generated buyers buy longer and buy more things. So they're much more profitable and their lifetime value is higher. So just a lot of implications.
Yeah, I love that. So much amazing value there. And I'm sure everyone's hopefully writing some notes down, because that's awesome, and showing the real benefits of having referrals there. And a term that you've used, which I love, is being preeminent. So do you want to maybe share a little bit about like what it is and how to be preeminent?
Sure. So years ago, we discovered this. It's not an original theorem. It's something that I was privileged to learn from someone else, but I have evolved it and expanded it and refined it and turned it into more of a proprietary version of my own. But it's pretty much establishing your business, product, service, company, yourself, as being seen in the eyes of the target audience you're after as being the most trusted advisor that they could turn to for life, the only viable choice they could have. It's all about being able to put into words, in phrases and language that no one ever has before, what somebody's wanting to get closer to, away from, the benefit they're after, the fear or the negativity they're after, they want to get away from. It's about being able to tell someone why a strategy or belief system you have is different and better for them. It's about not allowing someone to buy less than they should, in less quantity, quality, consistency, frequency than they should, not because you want to make all the money you can, but because it deserves them if they buy less than they should in less quantity or frequency. It's about moving your focus from your business or your industry to your client, and falling in love with the client you serve, and seeing how your product or service or company, when in service to that client, is impacting their life or their business or their finances or their health or their happiness or their their security or whatever you're doing, or their entertainment. It's about being able to communicate with them in ways and manners nobody else does, metaphors, similes, analogies that help them see examples of what and how you are different. It's about seeing your role in their life as a fiduciary. If you look at the definition, and I don't know what dictionary you use. If you use a Webster's dictionary, if you look at the definition of a customer, F, and it's somebody who buys a commodity or a service. So if you say, hey, you're my customer, what you're saying is, hey, I am no better than a marginalized commodity, and I'm lucky as heck that you favor me over somebody else because I have nothing unique to offer. If you call me a client and you look up the Webster's or whatever dictionary you use definition, it is somebody under the care, the protection, the well-being of another. It's got a much loftier and more fiduciary connotation, and it connotes that you are really somebody's most trusted advisor. So it's a whole different way of thinking, seeing, acting, transacting business in service to the other side. And you actually have 3 categories of clients. The first are the ones that pay you, and the others are the ones you pay. You have a moral obligation and a privilege to grow your team members, not just to squeeze them, but to grow everything you can within them and develop them for their own benefit, but also for your own, and for them to be able to add more value to your audience, your market, your prospect, your clientele. You also have the obligation to collaborate at a deeper level with your vendors and advisors, because if you do, they'll add much more contribution, value, advice, perspective, favoritism to you over other people. And it's a very different mindset than most people operate by or harbor. Anyhow, that's it.
Amazing section there. I love that with, different ways of thinking and really putting yourself in their shoes. That's amazing, Jay. So I guess, if we're a business or marketing coach, mentor, consultant, depending on how you do it, and you are the best in the world at it, what are some of the options, like instead of just paying for a service, right, from people and getting X amount, what are some of the options where we can structure a client agreement where we can benefit from like the revenue increase, so it's the performance of what we're doing?
Well, I mean, if you have an ability, expertise that can be quantified, can make more money, can save more money, can make somebody more productive, it can make them healthier, you can do many things. If you can quantify an increase that is economically denominated, make them more money, save them more money, you can ask for a fee against a share, or a fee plus a success bonus if you hit a certain metric. If it's more intangible or more what I call soft, maybe you're helping with health or happiness, you can ascribe a certain benchmark, and if you hit that, get a bonus. But wherever possible, you should ultimately, assuming that someday you are successful enough that you run out of time, if you run out of time in whatever you do as an expert, whether it's a coach, consultant, trainer, advisor, whatever it is, you're going to end up having to either raise your prices or limit your income. And if you're only getting paid time for money, then it's going to be finite, although it could be very lucrative. So whenever possible, you want to move and not be paid for time, but being paid for results. And because a lot of things we can do as an expert, really the time we spend is filler time. We don't need to. I did a consult today and it took me 47 minutes and we had 2 hours allocated, and the guy thought he'd need more time, and I only stretched it to 47 minutes so that he'd feel that he got value. But I had most of it nailed in the first 15 because I've been doing this for 40 some years and I can do it pretty quick. But you want to try to move your revenue model to where you're rewarded more for the performance, if it performs and if you perform. If you can't perform, or you can perform but you don't have control of how the other side performs, then you have to get more fixed compensation. But anything you do that has an upside to it, you should always try to get rewarded for that. And reward can be, if not at very least, a success fee, and at very most a participation in the upside. You can at least get an extension or a renewal of your coaching or your consulting fee if you hit a certain metric. If you say, hey, if I double your profits this year, I want you to guarantee that you'll renew it for another 12 months. I mean, you can do anything you want like that.
Yeah, I love that. That's an awesome one. It's not always just about the monetary thing, it's the re-signing.
And also, and you told me offline that you do groups. I mean, I used to do 650 people at a time at $500 a piece every month. And so I was getting paid, still was time for money, but it was $150,000 an hour.
It's true. This is the power of having group programs and masterminds and things, because
I mean, it's the economies of scale.
Definitely.
And the payoff of scale.
That's right. I guess, we're talking about all of these amazing strategies that you do, and they are, next level. You're the best at what you do. Now, you probably see a lot of issues, mistakes, and everything that people are doing in business for the people that you work with and what you see in the market. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you see people doing in business?
Oh, geez, probably the biggest is they don't test anything. And even, frankly, the people that let the algorithms test for them, they don't really test all the way through. You might be able to test what brings the most buyers in, but you don't know if those buyers are going to buy 1 time, 10 times. So, I mean, I think you can test everything. You can test media, you can test message, you can test, headlines, you can test the quality of the lead or the buyer, you can test upsell, you can test risk reversal, you can test follow-up, you can test downsell, you can test cross-sell, you can test pricing, you can test packaging, you can test proposition. I mean, geez, you can test so many things. You can test how you start sales communication. We've tested greeting somebody at a front door for a large furniture company and we tested 33 ways and found one way that tripled results. We tried, I don't know, 20 or 30 different risk reversals and found one that was an 80% enhancement. We've tested bonuses and doubled and redoubled result. We've tested $15 against $19 and 19, believe it or not, beat 15 in most of the tests by 300%. So, I mean, if you don't test, then you're probably, even if it's profitable, you're leaving an enormous amount of upside outside. You're not getting it. Anything that you do assumptive is very dangerous. The statistical probability that you are omnipotent and optimal in anything you do is very low. So anything you do just by assumption or conjecture, you're probably costing yourself money, but you're costing the opportunity of impacting and helping people that you could be reaching more of if you had a more successful approach.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, testing is everything. And a lot of people, don't do it enough. So I loved all those different strategies you shared there. And let's go into, I guess, more of our sphere of things. So how important is coaching and mentoring in business? And what has it helped you to achieve as well?
Well, I mean, I think that very few people possess all the knowledge they need, all the confidence they need, all the methodology they need to be totally successful at almost anything they do. And even if they do, whatever they possess is always going to be improved because there's too much experimentation, discovery, technology, enhancement that's possible all over the world. So the more you get connected to a top-notch coach, mentor, masterful thinking partner, advisor, counselor, whatever you want it to be, and let them help you with a facet of your life, whether it's career, investment, business, health, marriage, sports, parenting. Usually the more successful you're going to become, and that success is asymmetric. It's normally way out of proportion to what the norm is, and your goal in life is to get out of proportion results from everything you do. Why would you want to live a life of mediocrity or of average if you can have the same effort, time, opportunity in any facet of your life produce geometric, exponential, or beyond exponential? And we've proven you can take performance beyond exponential. So if you can, why would you ever want to operate, in your case, a business in the incremental zone if the same time, effort, opportunity, investment, commitment, people, resources could produce exponential good?
Yeah, I love that. So many amazing points there. And you are the mentor of mentors, Jay. You've done it to the biggest in the world. So, you're a testament to that and been around for so long that you've impacted so many. So that's amazing. And I guess as we, wrapping it up a little bit now, what one key piece of advice would you give to all of the entrepreneurs listening and watching today?
Open your mind to constant, never-ending discovery, and know that the real breakthroughs you're after are not going to come from inside whatever you do. They're normally going to come from outside. So you've got to be constantly, never-ending, sort of hopelessly curious to want to learn. I mean, my skill comes from the fact that I've been involved in 1,000 industries. Athin, I've learned over hundreds of different strategies, business models, value creation approaches, ways to structure, strategic alliances, all kinds of things. But I didn't learn it by studying one industry. The concept of best practices is really a fallacy, because it's only the best practices normally that a given industry or an application follows. And pardon me, it's only the best practices in your industry. And by and large, it's an incremental growth concept. I mean, if everybody in your industry follows best practices, then you're going to basically have a very little advantage. But if you can find higher performing alternatives from outside an industry that nobody knows, you're going to have an extraordinary advantage. And that's what you want to really strive for.
I love that. So many amazing points there, Jay. So yeah, we met at Mega Success, where you captivated the room with your business knowledge and growth strategies. You are the best in the world at marketing, and have single-handedly shaped how marketing is strategized and implemented worldwide. Today you've been very generous as well to provide 2 value pack free resources for everyone watching and listening, including the 50 Shades of Jay and how to get the most out of asking critical business questions. So the links will be in the episode details. So make sure everyone to check them out. And I'm very grateful that we have connected, and I look forward to working with you in the future. So to wrap this all up now, Jay, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
Well, if they're large enough, and I encourage, if they're not, then we have enormous spectrum of very meaningful and very, very rich and applicable resources we freely gift to people on the site that you'll give them. But if they're large enough and they can afford not inconsequential fees, because our base entry is about $150,000 US, but we work after that on performance. If they can afford it, I'd love to hear from them, and they can write me at my name, jay@abraham.com, and tell me about your business. Tell me the size, tell me the market, the industry you address, tell me, what your volume is, and tell me why your business, in your opinion, is underperforming its potential, and why your business adds more value, if it does, than your competitors. And I would love to explore with you if there's a match. But for smaller ones, we give great resources away that we don't even try to sell you on. They don't tease. They're fully explanatory. Some are expensive programs. We give away 4 or 5 books, complete books. You don't have to buy anything or give us your credit card. We give away, keynotes that I've done that I was paid $60,000 to $100,000 for. A lot of cool stuff. But if you're big enough, I always love looking at businesses, and I appreciate you. You impressed me as a very quality man. You told me a little bit about your business offline, and it sounds like you're working very hard to help deserving entrepreneurs do better. And I think that's wonderful. And I hope this, in some meager way, helps your audience, get a little bit more clarity and see a few more ways they can make their business perform better for them, and in such help them add more value to the people they're trying to reach.
Thank you so much, Jay. Amazing points there. And definitely, if you're at that higher level where Jay's talking about, then get in contact with him, because this man will explode your business in a very positive way. So thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way you know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. Have a great day.